This tutorial will introduce the Queen hardware. Previously I have already told about the control system, now W will discuss this in details. When you purchase Queen, you receive all of the hardware you see, but it's packed separately in the box. The set of these components is called the Queen pack. Using this guide you can mount the control system as you see on the screen. Now I will observe the control system in details. The first component is the circuit breaker, intended to break the power supply in the case of short circuit or power consumption overflow. The next components are the power strips. The left one is used for plugging their control system built-in devices with low power consumption. The right one is used for different devices that should be periodically switched off, usually these are the heating or high-power devices, like smoke generators, hairdryers, power motors and so on. The next important nodes are the power supply modules. Queen system works mostly with the DC voltage. So, the first module is 24 voltage power supply for the escape room general sound amplifier. 12 voltage power supply module is used for the power almost all escape room electronics like electromagnetic locks, LED lighting and other devices with 12 volts power supply. 5 volts power supply module is usually used for the different sensors and microcontrollers. The minus of 12 voltage and 5 volts must be united. And all of voltage potentials must be output on the special terminal bus, located around the Queen board. 12 volts are located here. 5 volts are located here. Minus is located here. All of the bus must be connected with power supply modules as you see on the screen. We recommend to use multicolor wiring for convenience. Use yellow wires for 12 volts, brown or red wires for 5 volts, and blue wires for the minus. 12 and 5 voltage were chosen in order to have a safe power supply. Main escape room control software is running on the Raspberry Pi, powered by the AC-DC adapter. Audio amplifier must be connected to the Raspberry Pi using special USB sound card, and is powered by 24 volts, 200 watts power supply module. All escape room electronic will be plugged to the Queen board. It's powered with 12 volts and connected to the Raspberry Pi using special Ethernet to serial converter, or simply serial server. And the last component is an Ethernet switch, is used for plugging there any Ethernet devices, being used in your escape room. Now we will discuss a Queen board. As I previously said, all the escape room electronic will be plugged here. Queen board has 15 relays to control any electronic device by simple logic like switch on or switch off, 15 power transistors for smooth control, for example, LED brightness control or motor rotation speed control. Also Queen board has 15 analog inputs, and 15 digital inputs. All of the elements are numerated from 1 to 15. Relays. Transistors. Analog input. Digital input. So, what can we plug to the Queen board? We can plug to these transistors any device, that can be controlled by DC power from 5 to 24 volts with an opportunity of smooth control. The device are RGB LED strips, different DC motors, and so on. In the case of LED lighting we control the LED's brightness. In the case of motors we control the rotation speed. Using relays we can plug everything that can be switched on or off. The devices are electromagnetic locks, electromechanical locks, lamps, UV lamps, lasers, fans, hair dryers, smoke generators, electric winches, pumps, and so on. Regarding the digital inputs, we can plug their buttons, button sets, limit switches, reeds, rotary switches and tumblers, ray interrupt sensors, barrier sensors, noise sensors, movement sensors, metal sensors, RFID sensors, code panels, and so on. Regarding the analog inputs, we can plug there all the same sensors, but it can handle not only signal presence or absence, but can measure a signal range. Also, analog input can handle different resistive sensors, like bend sensors, photoresistors, moist sensors, pressure sensors, temperature sensors, and so on. There are a lot of different resistive sensors you can use in your escape room. One more feature: if you purchased a gadget or prop with the electronic riddle inside, and its control electromagnetic lock as a result of resolution, it can be easily integrated to the Queen using a external generic automobile relay. Relay must be installed instead of the electromagnetic lock and used as a trigger, and plugged either to the digital inputs or to the analog. In the conclusion, I want to add, the Queen board is a simple logic executable component. It has no game flow logic inside. It just executes simple commands, like activate the relay, or measure analog input, for example. All game flow logic is running on the Raspberry Pi. On the Game Manager application is called Queen Room.